I primarily was a California actor, euphemistically, glamorously called Hollywood. Indeed, there were the New York actors, the shows that came out of New York in the golden days of radio were primarily of a documentary sense, and very often a more literate sense, very often a more substantial sense. Chicago was primarily a soap opera production center, because the slaughterhouses in those days were in Chicago, where the soap was being manufactured of animal fats.
That's interesting.
That's exactly the reason for it. And the sponsors' wives, who decided upon the artistic merits of any artist, were in close proximity to the production. And Hollywood then, you see, when I began in 1935, just at that point, San Francisco was the big town on the coast. And up to that point, motion picture artists, motion picture performers were forbidden to appear on radio for fear they would lose their glamour. And since tickets cost 35 cents apiece to go to the motion pictures, there was a real problem until someone's nephew, I suppose, in one studio decided, let our actor, our movie star, step into your living room. And the phrase was born, and suddenly there became a vogue for motion picture actors. Now, the movie star was named and starred. He was the great glamorous attraction. And that's how Hollywood expanded into the glamour show. But those surrounding him were the workaday able actors who played part after part after part.
In the fall of 1948, 4 of radio's top 7 shows still originated from NBC's KFI in Los Angeles. One of the most valuable NBC time slots was Sunday night at 6:30. It served as the lead-in to the Jack Benny program. For years, it had been occupied by the Great Gildersleeve. On October 2nd, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet joined NBC's lineup after 4 seasons on CBS. Both sponsor International Silver, an agency of record Young and Rubicam, expected the show's rating to jump.
Did you know, Harriet, that there are over 320,000 men in the National Guard today?
No, I didn't.
And did you know that every member of the Guard reports for training with his unit at least once a week and receives pay for it?
No, I didn't.
And that they now have an aviation branch called the Air National Guard?
Did you know that dinner is ready and it's time to go to work with our 1847 Rogers Brothers silver plate?
No, I didn't.
And that America's finest silver plate is 1847 Rogers Brothers?
That I did.
America's finest silver plate is 1847 Rogers Brothers. From Hollywood, International Silver Company, creators of 1847 Rogers Brothers silver plate, presents The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring America's favorite young couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard.
There's excitement in the air. A mysterious change has taken place in the vicinity of 1847 Rogers Road. Remember the friendly old elm tree in front of the house? Well, it doesn't look friendly anymore. The full moon shining through it, and on one of the bare branches, there's a big black owl. And the old dependable weather vane on top of the garage. Gee, it looks different now. I'm not sure if it's a weather vane or not, the way the shadows fall. Could be a witch on a broomstick. Oh, it's spooky out tonight. In the Nelson kitchen, there's an atmosphere of feverish activity and excited preparations.
What are you looking for, David?
We're trying to find some paper bags, big ones.
Well, look in the bottom drawer there.
There, that's a good one, Ricky.
Yeah, but what do I do with the potatoes? No, not that drawer, Ricky, on the other side.
Hey, what's going on out here?
We're getting some paper bags.
Sound like you were taking the kitchen apart.
Halloween, boy. We're going to have fun tonight, Pa.
Yeah, looks plenty spooky out to me.
What do you have there, dear?
Oh, I was just rummaging around upstairs a bit, and I thought the boys might make a costume out of these old work pants.
Gee, Pop, they're pretty dirty. Not only that, dear, they're covered with paint.
Well, what do you expect, Harriet? I wore them when I painted the breakfast nook.
I think you did a better job on the pants than you did on the breakfast nook.
How about you, Ricky? Would you like to be a painter? Will you get your white cap and stick a couple of brushes in your belt?
Golly, Pop, those pants are pretty big.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see how they look on you. Here, step into them. Put your foot in there. Yeah. Now the other foot. Now pull them up.
Oh, that's a wonderful costume. The headless painter. Anyhow, Pop, we don't need costumes. We got masks. That's enough.
Well, you suit yourself. We used to wear costumes when I was a kid.
That's just for little kids, Pop. Me and David are going trick-or-treat.
Trick or treat?
Sure. We ring a guy's doorbell and say trick-or-treat. If he doesn't give us cookies or something, we let him have it. There you are, dear. That's Halloween, 1948.
Sounds more like Chicago, 1925.
It's a lot of fun, Pop. Didn't you used to do that when you were a kid?
No, David, as I recall, we used to go in more for the real spirit of Halloween. You know, the spooky, scary stuff.
What do you mean, Pop?
Well, I mean, we'd find some old haunted house and go prowling around looking for ghosts and stuff.
You sure were brave, Pop.
Oh, not necessarily, David.
Pop, did you ever see a ghost?
Oh, I won't say I saw a ghost, but I will say I saw something.
A spook?
I don't know. It was white and shimmering, indistinct. It wavered back and forth. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't there. White and shimmering.
Did they have television sets then, Pop?
No, Ricky, this was right out in the center of the living room. I'm afraid Halloween's different nowadays. All the wonderful, spooky, hobgoblin atmosphere, that's all changed now. Can't help feeling a little sad when you see the joys of your childhood disappearing in a changing world. Halloween just isn't exciting anymore.
Are you gonna cry, Pop?
No, dear. Just the memories coming back.
You sure must have had fun, Pop. Do you think there's really such a thing as a ghost? A real ghost, I mean?
Well, I don't know. In a spooky old house with the moon shining through the broken shutters, you imagine you see some pretty strange things.
I'd sure like to see a ghost. Boy, would I run.
Well, there's the old McAdams house up on the hill. That's a pretty spooky-looking place. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there were a ghost or two lurking around in there.
Do you think we could see one if we went up there, Pop?
It's very possible.
Oh, Ozzie. David, your father's just kidding.
Oh, let the boys have a little fun, Harriet. After all, it's Halloween.
Come on, grab the bags, Ricky. We gotta get going. Hey, wait for me.
Don't you think a lot of the spirit of Halloween has been lost?
Oh, I don't know, dear. The kids seem to have a good time. That's the important thing.
Oh, they pretend to enjoy it, but where's the fun? Trick or treat. Where's the adventure? What danger is there in getting a handful of cookies from Mrs. Dunkel?
You've never eaten Mrs. Dunkel's cookies.
Have we had any callers yet?
Oh, about a dozen of them. You should have seen little Julie Thornberry. She was all dressed up in one of Catherine's old dresses, and she had a stocking on her head.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry I missed it.
And little Georgie Dunkel, he had the cutest clown suit with skeletons sewed on it.
We sure have some cute little kids in this neighborhood.
I'll get it.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get it. I want to have some fun, too. Yes?
Trick or treat.
Wait a minute. Aren't you a little big to be playing trick or treat?
Trick or treat.
How old are you?
53.
Who ever heard of a grown man playing trick or treat?
Well, my little boy's over on the next block. I'm just helping him out.
You don't even have a costume.
What do you think I am, a child? Come on, trick or treat.
It's a little unusual. What happens if I don't give you a treat?
Well, I sneak back later and ring your doorbell.
So what?
Then when you answer it, I punch you in the nose. Come on, trick or treat.
It's really funny. Here are some cookies.
Only 3?
Well, they've got to go around. There are other children, too, you know.
Okay. Oh, they're chocolate. My kid likes chocolate cookies. Thanks.
Oh, that's all right. How old is your little boy?
25.
One of the kids in the neighborhood, one of the older kids.
Say, would you do me a favor if you're not too busy?
Yeah, what is it?
Would you stop down at the store and get some candies or something? The rate we're going to run out of stuff.
Okay, Hey, what are you doing?
Just putting a couple of cookies in your pocket in case you got stopped for trick or treat. Some of the boys get pretty rough.
Oh, Harriet, please. You don't think I'm afraid of a bunch of kids?
Well, suit yourself. Last Halloween, Joe Randolph bumped into the backfield of the high school football team and came home minus his trousers.
No kidding. I understand they have a pretty good team this year.
Why don't you just take these 4 cookies, just in case?
You better give me 2 more. The ends might be with them.
On Halloween 1948, Ozzie and Harriet snuck into a haunted house.
Ever think as the hearse goes by, someday you are going to die. There's a spook in the meadow.
Dear. Shh. It might frighten the ghosts. Must be a haunted house. The door squeaks.
I don't know why you insisted on coming along, Harriet. I could just as easily have come by myself.
Ozzie, something has hold of my coat.
Yeah, that's me. Who closed the door?
Didn't you?
No.
Oh, it must have been the wind. Gee, this place sure looks creepy with the moon streaming through the windows. What was that?
What? Now, don't be frightened. I'm right beside you.
Ozzie, there's something in this room. It's coming toward us.
It's getting closer. Harriet, quick, my baseball bat. Hey, Oz, careful with that.
Hello, Harriet.
You old trickster,
I
Barney.
just thought I'd have a little fun with all the talk that's been going around about this place.
So you're the ghost David and Ricky saw. I should have guessed by the description. You should have a bagpipe, though, Thorny.
A bagpipe?
Well, sure, haven't you heard? This place is supposed to be haunted by a Scotch ghost who plays the bagpipe. And each night he comes down the stairs playing some old... Well, you do have one, Thorny. Where is it? Oh, you sure play awful.
Worse than you think. I don't play at all.
But I hear a bagpipe. Listen, I can hear it plain as day.
Ozzie, up there, the head of the stairs.
The ghost! The ghost of Lord McTavish. Well, we've seen it. Let's go.
Now, let's all keep calm about this. We'll just be quiet. Oz, let's push it.
It's getting late, Thorny. Let's get out of here.
Ozzie, you're carrying my coat. Wait.
Oz, the door won't open. I keep turning the handle and it won't open.
Stop it, Thorny. You've got hold of my nose.
This way, boys. Thorny, the door's over here.
Follow me. I'll make one of my own.
But the rating for Ozzie and Harriet that month was just 8.9. For more detail, please listen to Breaking Walls episode 107. The gist is, the winds of change were in the air.
So I moved, and I didn't want to leave NBC. I loved NBC. But I had to make some kind of a deal where I could make some money, because here I was getting a terrific salary, and was all salary. And I couldn't make a deal for a company. Well, I wouldn't care if I got $1 million a week. That wouldn't do me any good. What good would that be? With income tax,
right?
Sure.
Right.
So the ones that made me the deal and came right through with it quick was CBS. Then, of course, when NBC realized I was going to go, then they were willing to make the deal. But I didn't want to play one against the other, so I merely took CBS.
Well, CBS had generally rated NBC at that time, didn't they, with these production company deals?
NBC was, once I got on, but NBC was really the first network. Then when I moved over, a lot of shows moved over.
Mm-hmm.
So that made really CBS come up on top.
Yeah.
I made the million CBS by that move, which I didn't know or didn't think,
When head of CBS William Paley returned from World War II in 1946, he was dismayed at the state of his network. Although Columbia had built an impressive news division, 12 of the top 15 rated shows on the air belonged to NBC. Prior to the end of World War II, advertising agencies controlled the radio network schedule by pitching programs for their clients. But Paley felt the only way CBS could compete with NBC was to develop their own shows. He acted quickly. He named Frank Stanton president and himself chairman of the board. Paley would focus on programming. It was a huge gamble. CBS would have to sustain production costs for several shows until sponsors became interested. In the next 2 years, CBS launched more than 40 programs, but NBC still had radio's biggest stars. Then, in the summer of 1948, Paley received a phone call that would change broadcasting forever. On the line were Lou Wasserman and Taft Schreiber, president and VP of the Music Corporation of America. They asked if CBS would be interested in buying the Amos and Andy Show, then airing on NBC. At the time, U.S. citizens were taxed 77% of all income over $70,000. However, if the duo behind Amos and Andy, Charles Correll and Freeman Gostin, incorporated and sold their show to the network, they would be taxed under capital gains laws at 25%. RCA's head, David Sarnoff, wasn't interested in making these production deals for NBC. With an eye for the coming TV boom, Paley bought the show for $2 million in September. Amos and Andy moved over on October 10th. The show would air Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Say, Amos, this seems like Sunday.
It is Sunday. You see, Andy, we is on the radio now every Sunday on CBS for Rinso.
That's right. Rinso, the new Rinso with Solium, brings you the Amos and Andy Show.
Perhaps Paley would have been momentarily satisfied. But Amos and Andy lost their ratings battle that month to the Phil Harris and Alice Faye Show by more than 3 points.
Say, Andy, maybe you've noticed when our announcer, John Lake, talks about Rinso, he don't talk big about it. He just tells you the facts about how good it is.
Yeah, well, that's all they got to do. Just get people to use that new Rinso with Solium just once. And I guess they stick to Rinso.
Well, I'm sure they do. Because Rinso with Solium gets white clothes not just whiter, but whiter than new. And washable colors not just brighter, but brighter than brand new. Rain or shine, indoors or out. New Rinso with Solium puts sunshine in your wash. Use Rinso next wash day.
Tuesday, you have the great American privilege of voting. No one will know who you voted for. That is your secret and sacred privilege. So exercise it. Vote Tuesday. Good night, folks.
See you next Sunday.
With the U.S. presidential election on Tuesday, Paley resigned to worry about the ratings the following week. Then, much to his surprise, Wasserman and Schriever called again. They asked if Paley was interested in a similar deal with Jack Benny, who'd organized his activities into a corporation. Benny was unhappy with Sarnoff's refusal to honor production deals for NBC. Paley was interested in speaking on Monday. In the meantime, the Jack Benny program signed on NBC Sunday, October 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.